been a long time since I've actually, like, sat down and recorded a video. 'Cause first I was in California and I didn't post anything while I was there. And then the last 2 weeks I was just doing vlogs. So I haven't actually, like, sat down and talked to a camera in almost a month, I think. I still have one more thing that I filmed in California with my friend Megan, which I am going to post very soon. But before I share that with you guys, I wanted to talk about something very, very important to me. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I saw it a few weeks ago, and I loved it so much I went and saw it again. It was so funny, and I love that about those movies. They are absolutely hilarious in, like, the best way possible. I love the first movie. It's one of my most favorite movies ever. I just love everything about it. The characters, the music, the stories, the humor, everything about the first movie was so good. And everything that was good about the first movie was equally as good in the second movie, which just made it absolutely wonderful. I'm always a little bit worried going into sequels because I feel like a lot of the time their storylines become a little bit far-fetched because the studio is just, you know, trying to bring people in with something that they've already done. But this movie managed to have, like, a good solid storyline. It was a little bit predictable. Like, I kind of, like, guessed what was going to happen before it happened, but at the same time, the things that I knew were gonna happen happened in the most unpredictable ways, which just made it, like, 1,000 times better. There was so much character development in this movie, and it made me so happy because it's, like, my favorite thing ever. Spoilers ahead. Do not continue if you haven't watched the movie yet. Please go watch the movie. Go watch it now. With Peter, like in the first movie, we see him as kind of like, you know, this chill guy who kind of care less. He's kind of there for himself. And you start to get a little bit of character development in the first movie, but in this movie, you really get to see how deeply he cares about his friends and family, and I just love it so much. He cares so much. He loves his mom so much, and he cares so much about his friends, especially Gamora. I just really like being able to see past the outer Peter and into, like, the more complicated aspects of his personality. And with Gamora, we get to see her learning to let people in. She's gone through so much abuse in her life. She's kind of put up this wall around her and she won't let anyone through. But in this movie, we see her starting to, like, loosen up and admitting that she has an unspoken thing with Peter and realizing that Nebula wants more than just to hurt her. Nebula wants a sister. And now that Gamora understands that, she's willing to give Nebula a chance and let her in, and I just thought that was the absolute sweetest thing. Their little awkward hug at the end just made me so happy. I feel like the biggest and most highlighted character development in this movie was Rocket, because throughout the whole movie they're mentioning how he's such a jerk and he's really mean to everyone and he's just pushing away all of the people that are close to him. But when he talks to Yondu kind of reveals that Rocket is not as tough as he pretends to be. He's just vulnerable, and I really like that they did that, and I really, really love Rocket, and you can see that he's kind of started into this cycle of change, and that he's trying to become a better member of the team and a better friend, because he doesn't want to end up all alone, and I really liked that. I really liked character development, and Rocket's character development was so good. And Yondu's was too. I will admit that I rewatched the first movie recently, and Yondu is just like, you know, he's mean and he'll do anything to get what he wants, and he doesn't really seem at all like the Yondu in the second movie. And so his character development is a little bit far-fetched, but at the same time it's so sweet and I love it so much, and I love his relationship with Peter so much that I am willing to let that slide because it was beautiful and sad, and oh my gosh, I was like this close to crying at the end. Yondu. But yeah, there was just so much good character development in this movie, and it made me so, so happy because I love that so much. I know I have said that before in my videos, and I will say it 1,000 times because I love character development. I just love characters in general. And speaking of characters, I cannot talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 without talking about Baby Groot. He was so adorable. Like, you don't even understand. He's so adorable. I love him because he just wants to attack everything, but at the same time, he has this like sweet little adorable face. And the scene where he's dancing in the beginning, that's just like, that captures his personality perfectly, where he's dancing and he's smiling and then he sees something and he has to attack it. He's just the most adorable little rascal ever. And I love that he really does mean well and he really does try to help the team, but he just sometimes does not understand what's going on. Like the scene where he's trying to get the fin for Yondu and he brings back a whole ton of random things. That is just so adorable because it is like something that a very small child would do. Like, you tell them exactly what you need and yet they get it totally wrong. He is just the most adorable thing ever. And I really, really liked Rocket and Groot's relationship in this movie because I always felt like Rocket was kind of the one who was looking out for Groot, and like Groot would protect Rocket, but Rocket was more like the older brother to Groot. And now he's almost like the father to Groot. Groot is his baby and he will do anything to protect Groot. And in return, Groot always wants to help Rocket. And I just think it is the sweetest thing ever and I love it so much. Now moving on from characters, we have my other favorite thing about this movie, which is the music. I think it's super cool how you have all this like futuristic-y, space travel-y stuff with this soundtrack that's full of music from like before the 80s. It just kind of seems to clash, and yet it works so well, which is something that I really love. There's this cool thing I learned about in my film class last semester called Diegetic and Nondiegetic sound, and I really liked that they used it in this movie. It's diegetic sound is sound where there's no like visible source on screen, like the characters can't hear it, and non-diegetic is the opposite, so the characters can hear the sound. So I really liked how the music would like switch back and forth between like, you know, somebody was listening to it and like the sound quality was a little bit different, and they'd be like singing along and you could just tell that like it was within the world, and then it would switch to more of a soundtrack feel, like the characters couldn't hear it. They use that in the scene when the Sovereign are coming to Ego's planet and Kraglin is in that ship or whatever it is, and he's listening to the music, and when it switches to the ships and the sound quality kind of changes so that it seems more like an outside thing, I really, really liked that. One of the only things that I didn't really like about this movie is something that pretty much all Marvel movies do, and it really, really annoys me, is that they like to cut a lot when they don't need to, and a lot of recent movies do this, and it's kind of really obnoxious. So, you know, someone will be having a conversation and it cuts to one face, and then it cuts to the other face, and then it cuts back, and then it cuts back, and it's so much flip-flopping that it just really bothers me, and it's like, or like something will be happening on one side and it'll cut to that and then it'll cut back over here. And they really don't need to do that. Pans look so much better. So I really liked the opening scene where it was following Groot and there were no cuts and it was just panning. If there had been more of that in the rest of the movie, it would have been awesome. But they cut a lot because it's a Marvel movie. But honestly, that was one of the only problems I had with the movie at all. It is such a good movie. Guardians of the Galaxy is probably my favorite of all the Marvel movies ever, and everyone should watch it because it's so good and it feels really different. Even if you claim not to like Marvel movies, still give Guardians of the Galaxy a shot because it is not like any other Marvel movie except in the excessive amounts of cuts that it has. But anyway, Baby Groot is adorable. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is wonderful and amazing, and I can't wait until I get to watch it again, and you should all go see it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone who is subscribed to my channel already. Don't forget to like and share, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe for more of my adventures of weirdness for my brain. Bye!